We have returned to listening to CSC Talk Radio. This is Beth Ann. We're going to bring on Harriet Hageman. She was with us here a few weeks ago. We were talking about the lawsuit between RCAF and the ranchers and USDA. And regarding the RFID, the identification. So we're going to bring her on. They've got some updates on that. I'm not sure if it's good news or bad news or just a delay of news. Harriet, how are you doing this morning?
I'm wonderful, Beth Ann. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you very much. And kind of wondered about this update here. I'm going to just let you take the mic and explain it to my listeners.
Well, it's been a very interesting update and one that I think is actually very positive. One of the things that happened is that we filed our lawsuit on October 4th, and I believe that we visited shortly thereafter and spent the hour discussing what the lawsuit was about and why it was filed and what the concerns are. And I was visiting with someone actually from another press organization a couple of weeks ago, and she said that she was unable to find on the USDA website the fact sheet that was the subject of our lawsuit, which I thought to be quite strange. And so started doing some research, and she said every time that I click on that particular document, what should be that document, it actually gives me that 404 notice that it doesn't exist. So I did my own independent research, and in fact, that document had been taken down. So RCAF, one of the organizations that I represent in this lawsuit, they immediately issued a press release indicating that fact sheet had been removed from USDA's website. And then at that point, about 24 hours later, we received yet another document was posted to the website. It is not on USDA letterhead. It is not dated. It doesn't really even indicate who issued it. It is a one-page plus one-sentence document. The title of it is APHIS Statement on Disease Traceability. And according to that document, it states that last April, APHIS posted a fact sheet to provide producers with information about the agency's guidelines and goals related to animal disease traceability. Since the fact sheet was posted, APHIS has listened to the livestock industry's feedback. In light of these comments and current executive branch policy, APHIS believes that we should revisit those guidelines. APHIS has removed the fact sheet from its website as it is no longer representative of current agency policy.
Well, that is awesome. So where do we go from there?
Well, it's odd in how they handled it. And to my knowledge, that continues to be the statement that is up there. Again, there's no formal statement. It's not on letterhead. It isn't dated. It isn't numbered. It doesn't indicate who issued it or why it was issued, other than to state that April 2019 fact sheet is no longer representative of current agency policy and that they are going to revisit that. It's significant for many reasons. One is that our lawsuit was successful in putting them back on their heels. And USDA and APHIS, as we indicated in our complaint, did not have the legal authority to adopt that fact sheet. They cannot do it that way. The rules and regulations that are in place right now were formally adopted pursuant to the Administrative Procedure Act in 2013. And in the 2013 regulations, there are a variety of identification and traceability techniques that are considered to be official and approved, including branding, tattoos, back tags, group identification numbers, ear tags, and that sort of thing. Because they did that through a full-blown notice and comment APA procedure, the only way to undo that is to go through a full-blown APA procedure, notice and comment yet again. And the fact sheet didn't follow that particular standard, and that was one of the reasons why we sued. So USDA has clearly recognized that what they tried to do earlier this year by imposing and mandating RFID-only requirements on our livestock industry, that they were violating the law. So now you ask, where do we go from here? Well, our lawsuit is still pending. There's not been an answer filed by USDA. There has not been a motion to dismiss. This document, whatever you would like to call it, this statement, has not been provided to the court or submitted to the court as a reason why our case should not go forward. But my position is we still have some claims that need to be addressed. And one of them is, How in the world did this fact sheet come about? Who was the committee? Who were the people that were in that room that developed an RFID-only program and attempted to implement it earlier this year in violation of the APA and the statutes? So those are still remaining questions that we need to get to the bottom of. We need to find out who the advisory committee was. We probably need to do some discovery and find out what is going on with USDA and make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Well, you know, it was in AIS. It comes back with different names at different times, and so when this all happened, maybe they're trying to. I've been talking about distractions today. Maybe they're trying to distract RCAF and you guys that have issued the lawsuit against them to think, well, we're not doing that now, and they'll just go away. But I found out, you know, they're the bullies, and when you push back on the bullies, they'll back up. They may come back at you, though, and that's the thing. That's why I was asking if it was good news, bad news, or just a delay, because they constantly keep coming back with this with different names.
With different names, and it is, and much of it continues to be the same intent, and there is an intent behind this. There is a purpose behind it, and the reality is that agencies should not be making law. They just simply do not have the legal authority to use a guidance document or a fact sheet or a statement or a policy position to undo or to nullify what is a properly adopted rule, and they have to follow the statutes. They don't have the legal authority to do this. So I think that you make a very good point, which is we have to stay very vigilant, and that's why this lawsuit isn't over at this point, because we need to get to the bottom of the questions that you have asked. And so right now we're in the process of evaluating where we are and where we go from here. But I do think that it is important for our citizens, our livestock producers, to be able to step up and fight and protect their rights, and that's what NCLA does. NCLA was formed to file exactly this kind of a lawsuit, saying that an agency has overstepped its bounds, that it's acting extra legally, that it is attempting to do something it has no legal authority to do, and that's really our mission statement, is to make sure that we are following the foundation and framework of our constitutional republic, which is a representative form of government, which means agencies and unelected officials do not have the right to make law, which is what they attempted to do here. We stopped them. We'll continue to fight this battle, not only for our livestock producers, but for other individuals or entities out there that may be affected by other agencies.
And, you know, we talk about that, the alphabet bureaucracy that has gone on for so long. I don't know how many decades now, and it's been getting worse. They've been feeling more powerful, like they have the authority to make law. These aren't laws. And you mentioned the purpose behind it. I wanted to talk about that just a little bit. We're going to head into a break here in about a minute and a half. But the purpose of some of these things, it's to me, it's very blatant. It's control. And so I wanted you to mention that, because I know you are a rancher. So let's talk about that. What is the purpose?
Control. Now, I'm not in production ag, but my family is. I have two brothers who continue to be in ranching, and my mother is still on our ranch near Fort Laramie. She'll be 96 years old this month.
Oh, wow.
She's going to be mad if I publicize that, so don't tell anybody. But
I won't tell anybody, I promise.
She continues to stay actively involved in wanting to know what the cows weighed and how many head and what they're doing in terms of calving and all of those things.
So young.
I'm a fourth generation Wyomingite and rancher, and it is about control. It's about control of land use. It's about control of our food supply. It's about control of a variety of things. And USDA isn't the only agency that attempts to assert control, whether it is the Department of Transportation or Education.
We're heading into a break. Let's talk about that, because that is something that you deal with there at NCLA on a daily basis. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. This is Beth Ann. We're visiting today with Harriet Hageman with NCLA. That is the group that is helping our RCAF. It's the new Civil Liberties Alliance. And Harriet and Beth Ann are going to be right back.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. That's 800-378-3212.
Nothing is more important than protecting your family and property. That's why you should make a free call right now to Vivint, the #1 smart home services provider in the U.S. Vivint will make your home safer and more secure with a state-of-the-art system that's so simple to use. Vivint smart home specialists provide award-winning monitoring of your system 24/7, 365 to respond to any emergency, even when you can't. And with the 4.5-star rated Vivint smart home mobile app, control your entire house from anywhere. Locks, cameras, security system, all at your fingertips on your mobile device. Call Vivint now and get a free quote, professional installation, and full smart home service for as little as $2 per day. Equipment purchase or service agreement required. Conditions apply. Call now. A smart home is a safer home. So protect your family and your property, home or business, with a Vivint smart home system.
Call 800-510-4403. That's 800-510-4403. Call now. 800-510-4403.
There is no fake news allowed. The cold, hard facts are what's happening in the West as well as where you are. Range Magazine's over 25 years of experience covers news that you'll never hear on mainstream media. As the winner of 4 consecutive Freedom of the Press Awards, Range Magazine is true to its written word. Journalism is not dead. Truth lives in Range Magazine. Don't miss the great stories, photos, and art that is featured in each of the Range magazines. Call 1-800-RANGE-4U. Ask CJ about her Buckaroo calendar or her latest book, as well as special offer for CSC Talk Radio listeners. Home on the Range. Truth in Range Magazine educates Americans regarding the bureaucratic invasions in our lives, the taking of our land, life, and our liberty. Bring America home. Home to Range Magazine. Visit rangemagazine.com. Call them today, 1-800-726-4348. Tell them Beth Ann sent you home on the Range. Our founding fathers knew that the heartland would be coveted by those who want the land and its resources, or hated by those who simply do not understand its value. It is that simple. And yet today, the humble folks in the heartland are losing jobs and feeling the pressures from an out-of-control bureaucracy as well as outsiders with agendas. From the heartlands of America come our food, manufacturing, and our energy. CSC Talk Radio is a voice crying from the heartland and standing up for rural America, and so is Power the Future. Power the Future is a unique foundation established to be the voice for rural American energy jobs. Daniel Turner is a strong advocate pushing against those who would like to punish rural folks and take their jobs for the sake of climate change or the land and its wealth. I'm proud to be a part of Power the Future and bring Daniel Turner here to you. Our future depends on it. Let's power the future as we bring America home to common sense jobs and give our rural families a voice. Visit powerthefuture.us. Powerthefuture.us is the way to bring America home. And we have returned to listening to CSC Talk Radio. This is Beth Ann. We're talking with Harriet Hageman, and she is with the NCLA, and it views that is called the New Civil Liberties Alliance. And it views the administrative state, I'm just reading from their website here, as an especially serious threat to constitutional freedoms. And that is absolutely true. We talk about this day in and day out. No other development in contemporary American law denies more rights to more Americans. Although Americans will enjoy the shell of their republic, I like that, the shell, there has developed within it a very different sort of government. A type, in fact, that the Constitution was designed to prevent. The unconstitutional administrative state within the Constitution United States is the focus of NCLA's concern. NCLA urges Americans to recognize the administrative threat and join our civil liberties movement against it. And you can go visit them on their website and read all about them. Use them if you need to. I'm going to tell you what, there's people across this nation, Harriet, as you well know, that don't know their rights. And when people come in there from this bureaucratic alphabet telling them they got to do this or do that, I mean, there's even, and I'm sure you have as well, there's even been a lot of controversy over these census that the farmers and the ranchers get, as well as the U.S. citizens. The census is out of control with what they put on the census. They don't want to count the people. They just want to know everything else about you in your life. So I'm going to let you kind of talk about that.
Well, that's
not just
data
the
mining.
Census, but yeah.
The census is a form of data mining anymore, especially the long form, and an effort to categorize us rather than as American citizens, but to categorize us as subsets of that in order to, for all kinds of political reasons. And so that's one area that it is surprising what they do put on there, but then what they don't put on there. But going back to your statement, what we do have is we do have a problem with agencies that have overstepped their bounds, and it's across the board. There are over 400 agencies. People don't even know exactly how many federal agencies there are.
Wow. Well, we know some of them because we hear about them a lot, but there are 400 is, wow. Mm-hmm. And they think they have authority over people's lives. That's what's really bad. They sit in their little offices and think up rules and regulations and permits and licenses and all this and that, and believe they have authority over the American people.
Well, and it is interesting. What we've done is we've created almost a full employment system when you talk about that, because the 400 agencies are only the federal agencies. Every state and local government also have their various agencies and divisions and departments. And so what we've created is a bureaucracy of literally millions and millions of people. And I refer to this as the California model, but the estimate is that approximately 75% of all revenue that the state takes in California goes to salaries and benefits, not services. So if you spend $100 on taxes in California, approximately 75% of that is just to fund someone to regulate you, and only 25% comes back to you in the form of highway, sewer, those sorts of things. So when people always say, well, you have to have that because that's who provides the services, yeah, but there has to be a balance, and we've overstepped that balance a long way. On two different levels. One, that is the same thing that happens at the federal level, is that we spend so much money on salaries and benefits rather than on actual services, which is an issue. But also when you double up these layers of bureaucracy going from your local government to your state government to your federal government, and the framework of our Constitution was always to have local control. The power really should be at that local and state level, not at the federal level. We
were never designed to be dictated from by D.C. I call them D.C. occupiers occupying offices and cutting deals, and that's mainly, I'm talking about Congress when I call them D.C. occupiers. But they're the ones that they put in place this bureaucracy, and then they just lift their hands up and they just let them go. And they come up with these ideas like NAIS and RFID and other things that really significantly affect people's lives and take away their rights and privacy and property, and it goes on and on and on. And they tax and they make you buy a license and a permit, and it just, it gets unreal.
It's that, and it is also the law of unintended consequences, and we're seeing that in California right now, aren't we? With the wildfires and the fact that we are reverting to a third world country where people are living without electricity for days and weeks on end because of bad public policy. And it's policy in part set by their legislature, but it's also policy set by bureaucrats. And so again, you get this law of unintended consequences because of the nature of the decisions decisions being made, and the decisions being made far from in far distance from the people who are actually regulated. Going back to NCLA, what we truly believe is that we need to force Congress to take responsibility for making laws. And one of the things that this exponential increase in agency action and regulatory action is it's really given our congressional representatives a bye, because now what they can say is they can point a finger at the EPA or Department of Transportation or Department of Education or USDA and say, those doggone agencies, look at what they've done, look at what they're doing. But they don't take responsibility for making the laws either enforceable in and of themselves or take responsibility for making the law in the first place. The very first Federal Register was issued in 1936. And so the previous 150 years, we didn't have it. We didn't have that. Our congressional representatives are with a lot more freedom than we have today, and with a lot less bureaucracy and a lot less cost, and frankly, probably a lot happier people. The constraints that are being placed upon us on a daily basis, and you pointed it out earlier, so much of this comes back to the education side and people not even recognizing anymore, because we're not teaching it in our schools, we're not teaching our constitutional foundation, that really we are a country of laws, but we are a country that is based upon freedom and liberty, and individual liberty, and a recognition that our rights do not come from government, they come from God. And if they do not come from government, government has no right to take them away, whether it is a freedom of speech or freedom of religion or freedom to be free from unreasonable search and seizure, due process rights. All of those are innate in us when we're conceived. And a government should not be able to take those away. And when you have a government that then has grown as exponentially as ours has, they find ways to impact those rights each and every day. And the RFID case is just one example.
You know, we're out of time. I hear the music, but I was going to state, somebody stated here about a month ago that the difference is the socialists, the government, they believe government give you rights and can take the rights away. And in our republic, in our Constitution, we believe those rights come from God. And all that piece of paper on the Constitution, as Bill of Rights is it's our wall against infringements on those things. And if we don't understand what it says, then they can just walk all over us, which is what's been happening. We're out of time, Harriet. Thank you so much. We'll want you back as soon as we know some more of what's going on with this. Appreciate it so much, all that you do with NCLA to bring America home.
Please stay in touch.
And I will.
A girl needs accessories. So does a website these days. It's not enough to have just one accessory either. CSC Talk Radio is excited to announce we have an app for that. You can now listen to CSC Talk Radio easily on your smartphones, Android or iPhone. We have an app for that. Share this app-portant news with your friends and family. They can now join in the common sense. Calling all patriots. We have an app for that. Visit csctalkradio.com and download the app. Listen to live streaming or the show's podcast, designed for Triple L. Listening later leisurely. Accessories are necessary. Join CSC Talk Radio on your phone. We've accessorized. Visit csctalkradio.com and download the app. Working with technology to bring America home. We have an app for that. csctalkradio.com. csctalkradio.com.
What if things were made in America again? We all complain about our products, even our food coming from foreign lands and foreign laborers. But do we really understand? James Stubert didn't understand, so he dug in, and wow, he kept digging in. It all started with a light bulb. It held the label GE, but it read Made in China. Jim has done the research. Now you can have the answers in detail. Consumers can rebuild the middle class by buying things made in American communities. Find out why free trade resulted in 6 million lost manufacturing jobs and lower wages for most Americans. While free trade brought cheaper goods, we also had less money to purchase goods. That giant sucking sound sucked the life right out of American manufacturing. Order Jim's book today, What If Things Were Made in America Again? Send $24.95 to CSC Talk Radio, Post Office Box 73, California, Missouri 65018. Let's build it in America, buy it in America, and bring America home.
There's nothing wrong with global communication. After all, high tech has made our world seem smaller, but now we hear terms such as global governance. Henry Lamb's book, A Short Course in Global Governance, is a clear education, indeed, regarding the importance of knowing and understanding global governance. Do you believe the UN should have power over the United States or any other nation? With global governance, there is no sovereign United States of America. Read firsthand and learn the true agenda of global governance. America says private property shall not be taken for public use without just compensation. However, global governance says private ownership of land contributes to social injustice. Public control of land use is indispensable. Learn more now. A Short Course in Global Governance is only $7.50. Visit our online store at csctalkradio.com or send $7.50 to P.O. Box 73, California, Missouri 65018 for your A Short Course in Global Governance.